It's just sometimes the Friday buttons are different.
So
it's okay. You can. I understand.
Yeah. There's a button on the middle left that says Firearms Friday. Now the upper right button is the correct one for the intro.
So this should be heavy metal music.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning indeed.
This is the last morning. It's the last show of the year, my man.
Yes, it is.
Year's over.
Well, tomorrow the year's over.
Holy shit! When did that happen? Tomorrow.
Well, when did that? I mean, technically, it happened the other 360-something-ish days of the year. Is when the year got over.
I know in part it's because I'm getting older and I've been busy as a squirrel trying to shed a pineapple, but years just seem to be scooting on by, except for 2020. I think it's still 2020 in some respects.
I think for all of us, it's still 2020 in some respects. There is...
Yeah. Speaking of the Apocalypse Bingo card, we definitely need to get together and watch Cocaine Bear.
Have you seen it?
I have not.
Oh.
But I'm looking forward to the sequel, Meth Gators. Because that also happened in 2020.
Man, look. Cocaine Bear is... I have not seen it, but I'm definitely excited.
See, when I first saw the trailers being announced for that movie, I had this weird flash of deja vu because when I was at DLI, I had a battle buddy there who was from Detroit, I think. And before he was in the Army, he used to work at this coffee shop where there were always bums outside. Mm-hmm. Surprise, surprise. And one of them was this giant black guy with a big, heavy leather vest that was just ragged from having been homeless for 2 decades. He was the cocaine teddy bear. And so Battle Buddy would tell us stories about the cocaine teddy bear. And it was always, so as soon as I saw the trailer for Cocaine Bear, I was like, wait a minute, wait, what?
Yeah,
did Thomas get a film career?
Let's say hey to some people on this very, very final show of the year.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about guns.
You know, Cameron mentioned that I was wearing this shirt to make a bad dad joke right before the show, but honestly, it's not the one you expected. You know, I mean, yeah, it's Firearms Friday. We're here to celebrate our right to keep and bear arms. But I'm also enjoying this balmy 48 degrees.
I know, after how cold it's been. Like, I sure am glad that the Fit Life with Danielle took her drunk-ass weather back up north where it belongs.
No shit.
Like,
I saw a meme earlier that said...
Wait. What about Cocaine Bear Arms?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Well, I mean, it's just we're talking about the right to bear arms, and we were just talking about Cocaine Bear. And it was like, you know, if we just combine those three things together, that's like a dad joke inside of a dad joke.
It's like 16 walls. I think the best meme I saw about the weather so far, though, was look at this weather being all cute and springy. Trying to pretend like it didn't just try to kill us last week. Shit.
So, good morning to
Patrick. Morning, sunshine.
I was going to say Scrimshaw Rose. She looked like she got there first. And then good morning to Patrick. You could tell he's got the day off because he's in the chat.
Indeed.
And then there's your dad. Smoke him if you got him. I promise, if I had him, I would smoke him.
And there's Ma. Happy New Year, Ma.
Then there's the stream bot, and then there's the pit Danny.
And both Danny's right together. Fun.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. And then
Who else we got in here so far?
Patrick reminds us that Cocaine Bear comes out in February. Gee, I wonder what we're doing in February. Listen.
February's going to be busy.
Listen, we keep it simple, okay? Grill a shitload of burgers.
I like it.
Okay? Couple of bottles of bourbon.
I like it.
Get just stuffed, and then start the movie. And yeah, just that's it.
This is sounding like a driveway theater type of event.
In February?
Well, if it's like this, yeah.
Okay. Look, we'll talk about the driveway theater later, but it's...
Rod Purvis, mean old bald-headed Purvis, says, bitches, I appreciate the extent of your vocabularizing. So, let's, we're going to start. I promised you guys yesterday that we had an interesting story to talk about this morning. We're going to start with that before we get into DGUs. So, here we go. I have a version of the story from Breitbart. Now, I also dropped a link in the chat to the YouTube video with the armed attorneys. These guys are more qualified to discuss it and talk about it in a little more detail than we're going to go into it today.
You mean because they're the armed attorneys?
Yeah, I should hope so.
It's what it says on the 10. They're lawyers who talk about guns.
Yeah, and one of them's a pretty decent-looking blonde, which helps.
Doesn't hurt.
Definitely helps the show.
Yes, she can get your attention.
She can.
With both of them.
Both of them.
All right.
Cans or...
Oh, no, I was making a titty joke. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, me too. Both barrels. I mean, both of them. You can take a lot of long walks with that one. Texas drops appeal against ruling allowing 18-year-olds to carry guns. That's right. So just that headline alone should give you a great big pile of, wait, what? Yes. Apparently, the constitutional carry law in Texas has been challenged on constitutional grounds, but the challenge is not that the law should not allow people to carry a weapon without a license, which is what constitutional carry really means when it's used colloquially. Right, we've discussed this on the show several times before. We now have constitutional carry in Georgia and in Texas, and in I think we're up to 27 states now. But it's not actually constitutional carry. It's licenseless carry. The difference may seem subtle and pedantic on the surface, but I want you guys to think about things in this way correctly. You should think about your driver's license the same way, and every other license that exists. You have rights. Without exception, the issuance of a license is the government depriving you with threat of violence of rights that are yours by God, and then selling that right back to you. Licenses, at best, are a revenue collection scheme, and at the most realistic, in most applications, exist primarily to create artificial scarcity in markets where a bar to entry prevents price measuring competition. Now,
real quick, good morning to Rob Hova and Fishing, Golf, and Guns that also joined us. Now, licenses suck.
Licenses are bad.
Yeah.
Always
forward.
and everywhere.
I actually like the way Rob Hova puts it. Well, of course, land of the free, but that freedom comes at a premium or else.
Correct.
That is, that's rather succinct.
So the challenge to the constitutional carry law in Texas is the argument's actually being made that Second Amendment says right to keep and bear arms. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't make any qualifiers about who that right extends to. And there's a reason for that. Now, we can have a whole big argument about your 4-year-old running around with a 44 Magnum, but that's beside the point this morning. What this challenge says is that restricting the right to carry to 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, or from 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, does not pass constitutional muster, and that's what the law was challenged over. And, of course, there was an appeal filed against that. So Texas decided to drop its effort to appeal an August 25th, 2022 U.S. District Judge decision that found the state's ban on 18 to 20-year-olds carrying guns in public unconstitutional. Okay. So we're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-olds. I want to refer you back also to, it's been almost 10 years now, 8 years. Remember when Georgia went through the whole rigmarole over campus carry?
Mm-hmm.
We got campus carry passed in Georgia. So if you are a legal adult without a felony record, you can wear your firearm on campus. I was back in college when that happened, and all of a sudden one day I was no longer a criminal because I obviously wore my firearm every day. I do. But that campus carry law still says that if you live in the dorm, you can't keep your firearm in the dorm. You can't keep it in your car in the parking lot. It basically, the way it reads is, unless you are for your average student, for your average college student, it still says you can't have a gun.
Yeah.
Without trying to go down the rabbit hole too far on that. And this is saying that, and correctly, if you're 18, 19, 20 years old, you might have a job delivering pizza, driving an Uber, maybe even getting started in a career like insurance sales or real estate, something like that, where you are often professionally required to go to the homes of people you don't know, you've never met, and meet people for the first time in industries where that very fact is something that people take advantage of. Right? You guys know I do real estate photography. Many of the homes that I shoot will have signs on the wall that say, this house, fraud alert. This house is owned by such and such company. We do not list on Craigslist, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If someone has approached you with a rental proposal for this home, this is a scam, this is fraud, and you should report it to the sheriff. Right? People use the fact that certain jobs take you out to meet people alone as a way to target select victims for all manner of bad doing. And the law as it stands says that the people most likely to be beginning those kinds of jobs and careers should be disarmed and denied the ability to defend themselves in tactically treacherous situations.
And it's not just the law either. Like, what magically changes at 21? You can join the military at 18. You can get an insurance license at 18, but you can't get a pistol.
Right. But at 21, you can buy alcohol.
Yeah, and at 21 now you can buy.
We definitely need to wait until they start drinking to give them bullets.
Right, and then you can, and then at 21 now is when you can buy tobacco. Right, can't buy tobacco at 18 anymore, but no problem. At 18, you could sign your life away and die in a country who you can't even spell.
Right,
but no problem. Okay, so let's just go all the way down to it. All right, you either have the rights or you don't. Like, as time has gone on, I've actually, as so many other things, I've become more and more libertarian. And on this one, I'm about as libertarian as you can get. Like,
oh, yeah.
I shit you not when I say
I'm ammo from a vending machine libertarian on this one.
Yeah. I say throw away, like, seriously, all federal gun laws. All of them. The only reason I wouldn't eliminate the background check system is I would want gun sellers to have the opportunity to run a background check so they can know who they're selling a gun to. But that's only on a voluntary basis. If I was a gun seller, I might not want to sell you a gun. Oh, this motherfucker's been arrested for 3 different convicted for 3 different gang-related crimes. I don't think I want to sell him a gun. Hey, I'm all for the free market swinging both ways. But all the other stuff...
No, you bake the cake, you bigot.
But all the other stuff, okay? When you say, like, but Cameron, you know, like... Seriously, no more licensure requirements? Yes, absolutely, period. Okay. And then the whole background check and, what about people that have been convicted of certain crimes? Yeah, again, I'm going to remind everybody, gun rights advocates, we say this thing: if guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns. Well, that extends to people in different circumstances. Like, let's say somebody did, we use the example a lot. Somebody gets into a bar fight at 21, and now they can't carry a gun at 41 because of an aggravated assault conviction, right? And they were young and dumb and didn't know what they were doing. What, now they've got a family and everything else, and they just can't carry? See, and here's the thing. Only law-abiding citizens follow the law. If you have somebody that did a criminal thing, reformed, and now follows the law, they're a law-abiding citizen, so they're not going to carry a gun. It's literally only the people that want to break the law with firearms that are going to continue to break the law with firearms, period. End of sentence. There is literally, and wrap your brain around it, there is no reason whatsoever to restrict anybody outside of the most extreme circumstances from possessing a firearm. None. Because if they want to break the law, they'll break the law. Hey, robbery's illegal.
Yep.
Do people still rob?
Nobody does that.
Not with guns, especially.
Just like meth. Nobody does meth because it's illegal. I got a better one for you. Nobody does heroin because it's illegal. Anybody got any oxy in the house?
Right.
From a back surgery?
Right. So anyhow, this thing with the Texas law, and y'all go watch the video because it's interesting, because there's a lot of tinfoil hat stuff going on here where this is all being done very strategically.
There's the link again.
Where this is all being done very strategically because both sides are playing the long game here. And it's kind of black-pilled to realize that even in almighty Texas, like, there are people behind the scenes trying to chip away at your Second Amendment rights. But the long and the short of it is this appeal got dropped because both sides did the math and both sides realized being on the wrong side of this appeal would hurt their cause. And so instead what's going to happen is there's going to be a compromise that they think is going to pass constitutional muster. Basically, you'll be able to get a permit at 18 years old, but you'll have to jump through extra hoops, which I'm still going to say is a step in the right direction. If you're an adult, and you deserve to defend your own life. Like, until you're an adult, it's an adult's job to defend your life. And then once you're an adult, you're in the big boy club, defend your own life, and now defend the lives of those that cannot. But go watch it. It's interesting. I'm not super excited about it. If I'm understanding their take on it correctly, like, it's pretty depressing to realize people are playing like this bizarre like twister with Second Amendment rights. But there you go. Anyhow,
you want to take this first DGU?
Yes.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas is over.
Well, it's a gift. It's for you. I love you, baby.
Look at that. And we have a Twitch viewer. Good morning. Hope you stay with us. It says, pretty much agree on guns. I'm a leftist anarchist.
Hey, in all fairness, the most intelligent thing Karl Marx ever said was, every effort to deprive you of your arms should be frustrated, even with violence if necessary. That's like the only intelligent thing he ever said. It may not have even been one of the days that he had the pants.
Yeah, yes, yeah, and you can't really be an anarchist unless you're going strapped. Like those
right.
two things tend to go together. Oh, and then Pit Daddy has a great line here. If you have been in CIA brainwashing experiments, maybe no gun for you. Here's the problem: how many of us have been in CIA brainwashing experiments and don't know?
None of us now.
Huh?
Because we just saw the Twitter files, and we now understand that the entire 2020 election cycle was basically, like, it was just one big CIA brainwashing experiment. It was MK Ultra with digits instead of.
And it was like literally the only agency missing was the ATF. Anyhow.
Yeah, I'm sure they had nothing to do with it.
Right.
So.
An alleged armed robber was shot dead Monday. I already don't like the way this one is going. I mean, I like the part where the armed robber got ventilated, but...
And every time I see a tow truck driver in here, that tow truck driver is the tow truck driver from Men in Black.
Okay.
He pulls out Big Pig.
Look, an alleged armed robber. You know what? Watch this. I'm going to make the point. An alleged armed robber was allegedly shot dead Monday morning by an alleged tow truck driver with an alleged concealed carry permit. Have I made the point?
Yes.
Fox 2 Detroit noted that the alleged robber was meeting up with the tow truck driver. Here we go. Fox 2 Detroit noted that the alleged robber was meeting up with the tow truck driver under the guise of selling the driver a junk car. Oh, you mean an alleged transaction?
Yeah, thank God this tow truck driver wasn't 18, 19, or 20 years old.
Right. The tow truck driver was allegedly ambushed. Dude, I might be done with this story. When he arrived at the location for the car, the shooting was in self-defense. Breitbart reported a driver with a concealed carry permit. The microphone's in the way. That's fine.
So, scroll.
Oh, I didn't realize I had control of it. It doesn't say... it says that the tow truck driver responded by shooting him dead. So, I guess...
You know what? We're going to give him that one.
Yeah, and call it a DRT.
It doesn't say anything about him making it to the hospital, so I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, and what's funny is you just gave an example that said that there are certain jobs where you have no choice but to go out into the world and interact with people you don't know, and that there are dipshits out there that take advantage of that. And that's exactly what this was. Oh, I'm going to sell you my junk car. Cool. No, I'm not. I'm going to ambush you and try and steal from you. Oh, you have a concealed carry permit, and you just put 3 slugs.
Well, my dad was a milkman, back a long damn time ago. And he's told me he always had his, I think he said he was wearing a 44 then, but yeah, he was a milkman in Atlanta. I mean, now this was before Atlanta was Atlanta, but it was still, Atlanta. So, I'm going to take this next one.
Real quick. Good morning. We've got another Twitch viewer, Ave.
Hey,
Ammo.
hello.
Ave Ammo.
I like that.
Yes.
Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition.
Right.
So, store owner explains when you attempt smash and grab at his mall, you're going to catch a bullet. This one's this one's a little older.
It doesn't.
But it came to us from Louder with Crowder, and it's got the... No, shit, we covered this one when it came out. We're not going to do this one again.
Well, you could tell, like, that one was from Florida, the other one was from Michigan, and you could just allegedly tell the alleged difference.
So, Fort Wayne, Indiana, a man shot an alleged home... An alleged home intruder Wednesday morning, leaving the other man in non-life-threatening condition, according to police. At approximately 7 a.m., police responded to the reports of a shooting at a home along the 1900 block of Hillside Avenue. Police said a man called dispatch saying he had shot someone reportedly attempting to break into his residence. After authorities arrived, they found an adult male suffering from an apparent gunshot wound in the entry. Okay,
From an apparent gunshot wound?
He made it to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. That sentence, they found an adult male suffering from an apparent gunshot wound. They were called by someone who said, "Help, help, I've just shot someone." It's a gunshot wound. It's not apparent or alleged. It is. Okay, listen, Mr. Clinton. We mean something very specific when we say is. Thank you.
Right. We've done enough of these now where, like, you get the flavor of it almost immediately.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, Salt Lake City. Ooh, drive-by Mormons, baptisms. Let's do this.
This one is an update. New details have been released after a man was shot on Main Street Tuesday afternoon. The Salt Lake City Police Department is investigating the incident as a possible self-defense shooting. The investigation started shortly before 2:50 p.m. on Tuesday, December 27th, when police received information from several callers about a person shot at an apartment complex located on the 900 block of South Main Street. The callers reported that there was a man outside with a handgun and another man on the ground. Salt Lake police responded to the incident, and officers safely took the shooter into custody and began providing first aid to the man who'd been shot. Salt Lake City Fire and Gold Cross Ambulance also responded to help with first aid, and the victim was taken to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Officers recovered a handgun they believe was used in the shooting, and preliminary investigation shows that just before the shooting, 3 men were involved in an argument inside the apartment complex. The argument reportedly continued outside, and one of the men later determined to be the gunshot victim. We were good until we don't know that he's the victim, until the gunshot victim pulled a knife. In response, another man pulled out a gun and shot the man with the knife in the lower body. The third man involved in the argument inside reportedly left before the police were... Yeah, he was all assholes and elbows. It's like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Bye. Bye.
So there I was. When I realized my buddy brought a knife to a gunfight, I realized, holy shit, I'm in a gunfight. And I unasked it. Right there. Woo. Oh, yeah. Non-life-threatening. Looks like everybody came out of that one okay.
We were look, and that story seemed pretty good. But if it's being investigated as self-defense, calling him a gunshot victim, language is so loaded these days. They could just mean, like, literally, in the true sense of the word, he was the victim of a gunshot. Like, you could be the bad guy and still be the victim of a gunshot.
Right.
But often the language is loaded in such a way, like with those other stories where with the alleged bullet hole, with the alleged intruder and the apparent bullet wound, like, whose lawyer are you worried is going to read this? Anyhow, that's right. The third guy. Good morning, Dave Mathane. That third guy, and then Jeff Goldblum's silent fart. Good morning.
They called 911 for help. Police and prosecutors used a new junk science to decide they were liars. Oh, this will be interesting.
Oh, you guys are talking about System of a Down. Man, I hate to admit it, but like, Toxicity is one of my top 10 albums of all time. Yep. Great shit. Anyhow,
bunch of commies, but
yeah, crazy commies. But man, that was couple of really solid albums there. Anyhow, okay.
So this story contains audio clips of 911 calls where people in distress describe traumatic deaths in sometimes graphic detail. It also mentions a suicide attempt.
Thanks for my
public. Tracy Harper, a deputy police chief from suburban Dayton, Ohio, was hunting for praise. He had a business to promote a miracle method to determine when 911 callers are actually guilty of the crimes they're reporting. I know what a guilty father, mother, or boyfriend sounds like, he once said. Harpster tells police and prosecutors around the country that they can do the same. Such linguistic detection is possible, he claims, if you know how to analyze callers' speech patterns, their tone of voice, their pauses, their word choice, even their grammar. Stripped of its context, a misplaced word as innocuous as hi or please or somebody can reveal a murderer on the phone. So far, researchers who have tried to corroborate Harpster's claims have failed. The experts most familiar with his work warn that it shouldn't be used to lock people up. Prosecutors know it's junk science too.
Where's the guns? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, like, I just...
Prosecutors know it's junk science too, but that hasn't stopped some from promoting his methods and even deploying 911 call analysis in court to win convictions. A photo post on Facebook to... Okay, you know what? I'm going to put this story aside. It may get to the gun stuff in a minute, but it hasn't yet. And it came up when I was looking for the DGUs this morning. As you guys know, I try not to read them any more than I have to because we want to be able to surprise too. This might be worth reading the article and then doing a little research and talking about that on a separate show. So
this is the same one. It's from Detroit, and they're already using it.
It's the same story from it's a different outlet. Okay, so here we got another one. You want to take this one?
And then, well, actually, we got a question from Hail Love. That's the translation of the name, Ave Ammo. Why don't we invest in body armor?
We do.
Yeah, well, they were asking the question.
I have body armor.
Right. I'm going to assume a couple of things about the nature of your question and say that the reason why guns are preferable to armor is because guns allow you to fight back.
Yep.
I mean, you can have a panic room as long as you're okay with never leaving the panic room.
Correct.
And I'm not.
Well, and I mean, okay, so as somebody who has been in gunfights while wearing body armor, I have never actually been shot. I've been shot at a bunch. And a large part of the reason I haven't been shot is because when I was being shot at, even though I was wearing body armor that could have protected me from those bullets, since I also had a gun and returned fire, they stopped shooting at me. If I hadn't shot them, they wouldn't have stopped shooting until they hit. So, body armor stops shots, but bullets stop shooters.
Yes, and body armor's only got limited effectiveness.
That's correct.
Okay, like, and here's the thing: even if the other guy is wearing body armor, I promise, like, let's say you got like full blown like military grade like vest on, and you catch a round in it, it's still like getting hit in the chest with a baseball bat. Like, you are fucked up. Like, it's cute in movies when guys take rounds and just shrug them off.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
It's not how that works at all. Like, I knew a guy whose wife made him retire from being a police officer because it was one of those situations with pulled over some kids. They ended up being gang members. One of them pulled a gun and just lit him up. I mean, he got shot like 4 times. His vest caught all 4 rounds, but he was pissing blood for like 10 weeks after that.
I bet you half his ribs were broken.
And like his wife, and like seriously, he's like, that was the end of me being a cop. Like, my wife came to me and was like, this is going to be a problem. Like, he was going to recover and go back to work. And then his wife was like, no, you're not.
Yeah. Well, like, there are a lot of reasons I got out of the Army when I did. My wife didn't make me get out of the Army, but that was definitely part of the conversation.
Rod says John Wick suits. Yes, look, they're fun. Okay, I love the concept, but like, it would still get hurt to get shot. Do we want to do more? It's the last one of the year. It feels.
Yeah. We got to get one more in. The last one of the year. Oh, and I mean, it's the last one of the year. It's wintertime.
Oh wow! And now we're going dark.
I think this one came from I think this one comes from the bad form story. So, it'd be kind of a safety safety conversation here. You want to read this one?
Worker checking frozen pipes shot by apartment resident who thought he was a burglar.
Yep.
Oh, dear.
That's bad form.
Grand Prairie police say an apartment resident shot a maintenance worker checking multiple balconies for frozen and busted water lines on Christmas Eve. Jesus, that's just... It happened at around 6 p.m. on December 24th at an apartment complex in the 2900 block of Alouette Drive. When officers arrived, they found a maintenance worker on a resident's balcony with an apparent gun... Why is it an apparent gunshot wound? Like, did you find an arrow sticking out of him? Anyhow, the victim, 53-year-old Cesar
Montelongo.
Thank you. Was rushed to a local hospital where he later died. As far as we know, my dad was just responding to work orders because at his apartment complex he was on call. Caesar's son wants justice after his father was killed on Christmas Eve checking for leaking of frozen pipes. The resident who believed his apartment was being burglarized grabbed a gun and there's a word missing there.
There is, but...
Shot Montelongo through a window, according to police. All I know is that my dad was working on fixing leaking pipes and he was doing his work on the outside. And being outside the window, said Montelongo Jr., my dad wasn't trying to break in. He was just looking for leaking pipes. The latest news from North Texas. Man. Yes. It's so sad. And I don't say that flippantly. But I don't read all the color commentary. I'm trying to understand. For example, if somebody's home is about to be broken into, they're not necessarily required to let the person come into their home before they're defending themselves. Obviously, this is something that I think is unfolding very quickly, and it's likely to be some scrutiny about the other alternatives. The biggest question is the notice to the homeowner prior to the shooting accident. That's what, that's the thing that I want to know about here is how did you not know that the maintenance guy was going to work on Christmas Eve? Golly. Man, that family had a miserable Christmas. Like that is absolutely, that's about as depressing as it gets. And it does make me wonder how it came to be that like we talked before about how I did pest control, and sometimes I would do apartment complexes, and the residents did not have the right to refuse pest control services past a certain point. If they were not home, for example, I mean, I had keys to the entire apartment complex. Okay. Right. So what would happen is literally not only would they email and text everybody, they'd even go around and they would shove something in the door that says, Friday morning between 9 a.m. and 12, pest control is going to be here. They are going to come inside your apartment. Right? Now, I had protocol that I had to follow. Okay. I knocked multiple times and I announced myself when I went into the apartment. So it's weird that this guy was crawling around balconies and not letting anybody know. But at the same time, what was it like? 15 degrees? So he could have just been cold as fuck and trying to hurry up and get his job done. I want this is one we might have to follow up on, because that's weird.
I'll stick it over here on the pile.
So, we never got to Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
I've got time.
I'm out of coffee. Come on.
All right. Jim Duggan, one of the most recognizable names in pro wrestling, and earlier this month he needed to put some of those moves to good use when he was faced with an intruder in his South Carolina home. Duggan, who goes by Hacksaw Jim Duggan, is in the wrestling world revealed in an interview with Wrestling Inc. on Friday that his home was broken into on December 8th and that he faced the intruder himself. The 68-year-old told the wrestling news outlet that a man in his mid-20s entered through his and wife Deborah's front door. Duggan said he took the man down himself and grabbed his 44 caliber pistol and held the man at gunpoint.
Dude, Rob Hova says the quartering is offering 10% off the best coffee you can get. Sorry, I had to. Yes. Are you really Jeremy in disguise? Is this part of your marketing plan?
Imagine you're trying to break into somebody's house. You're the kind of person that's going to break into a house. Now, I've read forward a little bit already, but just let's just go back to it just being a burglar. You break down somebody's house, and I know it's not the same guy, but here you come through the door and you walk through the door and oh yeah, Bonesaw is ready.
Yep.
Excuse me. Oh, the 68-year-old, the retired wrestler added that he heard more people outside and thought there could be more trouble, so he turned off his Christmas lights and told the man to keep silent. Shut up, you. Duggan said the man held at gunpoint appeared to be frightened and thought the police in the neighborhood thought that people in the neighborhood were coming to kill him. Duggan said he called the Kershaw County Sheriff's Department to help take care of the matter. Cops were, thank God we didn't shoot him, Duggan told Wrestling Inc. On Saturday, Duggan tweeted photos from the incident and thanked authorities in a statement. We would like to thank the Kershaw County Sheriff's Department for their prompt and professional response last week. A man who we had never seen before climbed our fence, ran through our yard to our front door, and was pounding on our glass doors. Before we could get to the door, he opened it and fell into our house. I held him at gunpoint while Deborah called 911. We are safe with no damage. I love that after that statement, we're followed with this photograph, the big thumbs up and the blue Hawaiian shirt.
Buddy Christ!
Thanks to everyone for the concern and well wishes. Duggan didn't appear to need a foreign object in the matter. What? During his wrestling days, he would come to the ring with a 2x4. Got it. Duggan was the first ever Royal Rumble winner in 1988 and was World Championship Wrestling's first U.S. heavyweight champion. I think that's the end of the story. Okay, so yeah, it's not the one you want. Not the one you want.
And apparently this guy was having a mental issue, and even though we just had that terrible story about the guy getting blown off a balcony, on the flip side, this is what's going to happen with most cases of self-defense. Usually the gun itself is enough. You don't actually have to use the gun. Just having the gun is enough to make the bad guys all assholes and elbows, or in this case, temporary prisoners until the police arrive to make them, let's call them less temporary prisoners. And it seems as though this guy was having some kind of a mental break, and Hacksaw tried to be kind. And I said, he was kind by holding him at gunpoint, calling the cops?
Yep.
Yeah. He could have shot him. This is in South Carolina. And apparently there were people outside. There's some corroboration here where, like, Hacksaw turned off his Christmas lights and the guy believed that the people outside were coming to kill him. Like, this could just be some weird, bizarre situation. And yeah, so...
All right. Well, I think that's it for this morning. I'm going to wrap it up. So it is Friday. I know, because we just got done talking about guns and I don't have sleeves on. So that's the end of the week, end of the year, going into New Year's.
Tomorrow is the end of the year. We are not at New Year's Eve yet, sir. Georgia has not defeated Ohio State yet. There's another important game happening tomorrow, but it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, but I'm not giving them their last safety brief tomorrow.
Oh. Sorry.
So,
go Dogs.
Speaking of go Dogs, celebratory gunfire is secured for the weekend. That's bullets never miss.
Yeah, they always hit something.
They may not hit what you wanted to, but they'll hit something.
Use code BrushfireMind.
I want to make that happen.
Oh, that would be funny. That would be funny.
Oh, Danny says shoot down rather than no. Just don't do it. If you need to pull that trigger,
targets.
If you need to pull that trigger, take your ass to the range. Jesus. So, it is the end of the year. Obviously, this weekend is going to be absolutely covered up with drunk drivers because, of course.
Look, here's the seriously, guys. Seriously, a bottle of scotch, a bottle of nice scotch, costs on average less than the trip for you and your date to go to a bar.
Yes, it does.
And then you don't have to drive anywhere when you have too much. Anyhow.
Yep.
Please, but safety briefing. I will fry bacon naked if I choose, but...
I don't know, man. You remember that story about the couple in the kitchen cooking breakfast that Lewis Black shared with us so many years ago?
Yes.
Telling you, wearing a shirt is a good plan when you're frying bacon. Don't drive drunk. Don't fry bacon naked. It's going to be a big party weekend for a lot of you guys out there. So, sex, drugs, rock and roll, farm animals, and videotape. No two at the same time. We love you, and we will see you next year. That button.